All right, here we go. All right, so a couple of things I wanted to bring back up to the front here was the repair deductions part two. I know Messina is about the only other person here who's done some of these. So as a review, what happened is the state law in Virginia um, in July 1 said landlords can no longer give a repair deduction in their leases, which is true. Overall, they can no longer say, "Hey, the first $100 or $50 you got to pay for it," which has been a common practice. And so that has changed. But there is a caveat in the law that says, unless necessitated by the tenant's violation of a requirement, any fee for the maintenance or repair of any dwelling unit cannot be charged. So that's the big if. The challenge is that it's not the tenant's property, it's the landlord's. It's deductible for repair, deductible for warranty. Because people, well, what if they agree? It says the law. It doesn't matter about whether they agree or not. The law says no. And I've already had that question come up. But if they agree, say no, just don't violate the law. Now, it's only in effect if the tenant was negligent that they can still charge. The battle will be who determines if the tenant was negligent? I mean, if the landlord gets there and sees that they've been banging on the furnace or something and now it's not working and those damage was not there before, then that sounds like it's the tenant's neglect, and you may be able to get money from them on that. So I wanted to go through where the repairs are talked about in the lease because here's what happens generally. We get a call 30 days into the lease and the tenant still wants to treat us like we're their agent. We want to be their agent for life, but at this juncture, they now need to be turning toward their landlord. Has anyone had that kind of call where you got a call from the tenant or a call from the landlord asking you to step in and do something? Anyone gotten that call? Or let me put it this way, what's the latest that you've gotten on that? Because I know we get them. None or none you want to talk about? Okay. So usually it's like the latest one we had is we got a video from the tenants, and the video was the light in the dining room was dripping water on the dining room table. And they had been there less than 4 or 5 days. They wanted out immediately. So we'll talk about that in a minute. How can a tenant get out of a lease on property damage and things like that? The simple answer is they can't. Yeah, they can't just violate. I'm getting out of here because you got a leaky light. That's not the way it works. So the repairs deemed beyond normal wear and tear, repairs will be deducted out of in the lease says the first thing it talks about is a security deposit. If I have to make repairs as a landlord and those repairs go over your security deposit, number one, anything within the security deposit, let's say it's $800 and I got a $2,500 deposit, I get to take that out of the deposit. This is not normal wear and tear on the property. This is I walk in and the stuff I said that you would take care of, you did not take care of. You didn't take care of the screens. You didn't take care of the furnace filters. You didn't caulk and around the bath and the shower. Now I got to do all that. And so that's in the lease for the tenant to take care of. And so if they don't do that, then you have to you're going to lose some money as a tenant. So just they need to remember that. But if the costs go over the security deposit, then the landlord has 45 days to repair it and notify it with a big list. Here's everything I charged, I had to fix. And so you owe me this amount of money. Then they submit that to
What is
the
the latest
tenant.
previous? Straight down
And
to all you see on it. Thank you.
yeah, okay. Hey, Messina, can you mute there while you're walking? Thanks. All right. So that's that part of it. The next one is um, fire or casualty damage. So there's been a fire or flood or a tree hits the house. The landlord is the one that to determine if the house is habitable, which is interesting. And then they have a reasonable amount of time to fix those repairs. And during that time they're working on it, let's say that it was water in the basement or water in the kitchen because the dishwasher blew out. They've mopped it up. It might be inconvenient, but you can still live in the house with work being done on the kitchen. So the landlord says, "All right, I'm gonna work on it and you're gonna fix it." But let's say the landlord says he's going to do all that and doesn't do it. There is another piece of the lease that says after reasonable time, the tenant may make the repairs and deduct that repair amount up to the rent amount off the next month's rent. Receipts must be supplied to substantiate the deductions. Now, do you see that this is all in the lease? And here's what I would say when you get that call from the tenant or the landlord, after they're now in a business relationship, it's not your job to take over this and fix it. All you can really do is do what I'm doing right now. Say, well, the lease in paragraph 7 says you have a reasonable amount of time. And because the landlord may call you and say, this tenant you got me, they're supposed to pay $3,500 and they only sent me $2,750 with a bunch of receipts. I don't like this tenant. I want to get rid of them. Well, obviously, you didn't fix something. And in the lease that you signed, you said you would fix it. And if within a reasonable amount of time you don't, they did exactly what the lease says they can do and what the obligations and responsibilities form that they signed from the state said they could do. So that's when this is going to come up to you. So the next one, in fire and casualty paragraph, if the property is damaged such that the tenant must vacate for the repairs, the tenant or the landlord may terminate the lease with a 14-day notice. So this would be like major flooding. Maybe the whole basement's done and they can't live there anymore. That's where they were living, or the roof has got a big hole in it from a tree falling in. They would say, "Hey, we're terminating the lease. Here's my 14-day notice." Okay. Any questions on any of this so far?
I have one question.
Yes, go ahead.
Let's say that, they just start the lease and just pass like 10 days and then a leak start from the ceiling from the AC unit.
Right.
So I think that will be responsible, the landlord, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Because you just get in there.
Yeah, you just got there. And usually, Damien, one of the reasons that things go haywire with a new tenant, it's the change of use. The old tenant may not have run the air conditioner at 72 or 68, and your guy is, and so now the change of use makes something in that air conditioner break. But the air conditioner is now leaking. That's not neglect. That's a problem with the property. So when you're talking water, what I suggest for tenants is like, look, get the towels out and take care of it immediately. Don't let it just keep leaking everywhere. Stop the leak, get the towels out, report it to your landlord or property management company, and they should be coming out immediately. If it's not the landlord, their property management company. And so they're going to get it fixed. So getting it fixed though, the tenant has to be okay with them taking time to get it fixed. And if someone's there that night or the next morning and then they schedule repairs for this weekend, that's reasonable amount of time. If they say I'll get back to it and it's been a week and they haven't come, that's not reasonable. So that would mean that's where the tenant would say, "All right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get it fixed. I'm going to pay for it, and next month I'm going to reduce the $1,800 bill that I paid to do it." So the tenant is still safe from extra costs that they shouldn't have to pay for by taking it out of the rent that they would be paying for. So they were going to pay $3,000. There's $1,000 worth of damage. The landlord wouldn't get it fixed in 10 days, so they got it fixed, and now they submit it with receipts to the landlord with a payment of $2,000. Okay, so that's how that works.
Thank you.
All right, yeah. We talked about that. So paragraph 10 also talks about repairs. By the way, in paragraph 10, right up front, it's the landlord's responsibility in the VRLTA lease to inspect the property at move-in. It's not the tenant's responsibility. So the landlord is supposed to walk that property, take pictures, make a list of move-in issues, and give that to the tenant. Many times the landlord and the listing agent are saying, well, you just do it. Well, it's not their job in the lease. It says the landlord will do it. But is it something you could break the lease on? No. But tenants, if they're going to end up being doing it, give them the walkthrough form, take pictures, and submit that to them. But remember that any defects that you're finding in that walkthrough does not mean that they have to repair them without a request for repair from the tenant. The tenant needs to make that request for repair on a separate request form or an email. Okay. Mold is a non-negotiable. So I would be suspect when you're in a garage or down in the basement or something or in the laundry room and there's moisture there, I'd be looking for mold. And if they find it, the landlord has 5 days to remediate mold and then re-inspect it. And then after they re-inspect it, they got to give them a new move-in inspection notating that the mold's not present. And so, yes, there are landlords. They're cheap. They think, well, no one's going to die from a little bit of mold in the laundry room. It's always going to be moldy. It's a laundry room. Well, that's not negotiable in state law. They have to clean that up. Then in paragraph 12, repairs are mentioned about as-is appliances. Now, remember, an as-is appliance doesn't necessarily be repaired if it's not life-threatening and it's not required by law. Because it does say in the conveyances, those items listed below in as-is condition are provided in as-is, where-is condition with any existing faults and need not be repaired, replaced, or maintained. But the law does say, however, you've got to have electrical and plumbing. You've got to have heating and air. You must have a water heater, and you must have smoke alarms and CO2 where required, carbon monoxide. So the landlord can't say, well, I told you the smoke alarms didn't work. Can't do that. That's not what that line is about in paragraph 12. Paragraph 14, by the way, gutter care has been removed from the lease. The tenants are no longer required to do gutter care. But it does say tenant will pay for any repairs or replacements made necessary due to deliberate, accidental, or negligent acts or omissions of tenant. Tenants, authorized occupants, guests, or invitees, or animals. They break a window, they got to fix it. Okay? So that's their obligation. Frozen pipes. This is stemming with what I've been reading from the outside spigots. So the tenant needs to learn how to drain that spigot and put that insulation over the front of it every winter. I submit you shouldn't do it any later than November, and then you open it up again probably mid-March or after March. Okay? Because December, January, February, that's when that water left not drained and not properly insulated. It can freeze, go up the pipe, and then burst, and then cause a big old water damage. So that frozen pipe damage can be pretty substantial. If it's inside the house, just so you know, you may be able to make a insurance claim. If the water is coming from outside the house and it's hit the ground, then come in, most likely can't do that. Tenants are responsible for light bulbs, fuses, water filters, and HVAC filters. This is amazing to me where I'll go show a rental. I pull out that HVAC filter, boy, you can see no one's changed that for 3 years or 2 years. And this is a quick route to a damaged or destroyed HVAC system is when you don't keep those filters going. But this is what the tenants are on for, and we'll get more into it again. We're going to review it page 7 and 8 because I think you just can't send this over to your tenant and say, here, sign this, and to the landlord who's never done this before. They need to know what's responsible. Bathroom care, clearing drains and toilets, caulking around tubs and showers. This is all on the tenant. All of this is on the tenant. Okay. Then you've got review pages 7 and 8 with tenants to avoid tenants' misunderstandings later. And let me pull that up. I think I have it right here. Yeah, this is page. Can y'all see my screen with this form on it? Somebody say
Nope.
yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, great, thanks.
It says repair lease. I see a
I've
slide,
got
not a
fire and
form.
casualty damage now.
No, we're seeing the slide, not a
Yeah,
form.
Okay, great.
yeah.
Let me do my screen. All right. Should say fire and casualty damage now on the screen.
Yes.
And so I wanted to go through page 7 and 8 because this is where you will get the phone call about a lot of this stuff on page 7 and 8 that they signed off on, that the tenant signed off on, and they're wanting the landlord to run in and rescue them from appliances, equipment, and system failure that they didn't maintain. Maintaining premises in a clean and sanitary condition, disposing of all trash, garbage, and waste. Tenant, and so this is the frozen pipe piece here on B. Tenant must drain any outside water spigots each fall. In the event the plumbing is frozen or obstructed due to the negligence of tenant, the tenant's on the dime for repairs. Furnishing and replacing all light bulbs and fuses. This really kills me when you show a rental. Any of y'all ever showed a rental and there's light bulbs missing or out throughout the whole thing? Anybody gone through a dark listing because they wouldn't, yeah? I guess I'm the only one showing Baltic Avenue properties. It sounds like the rest of you got really nice listings you're showing for rental. But it's on the tenant to change those out when they're leaving. And if they don't, the landlord can charge them for the lights, bulbs, and fuses and furnaces and filters they didn't change out because this was on them to do it. Okay. Clearing all drains and toilets, maintaining caulking and tubs and showers, maintain the carpet and flooring, replacement and payment for glass and screen breakage. Baseball outside, it comes through the window. Their cat damages the screen because it likes to put its claws on it from outside. That's on the tenant. Okay. Maintaining premises in such a manner as to prevent the accumulation of moisture so there's no mold coming in. If the landlord hands it over to the tenant without mold, without moisture in the laundry room in the basement, and suddenly they have mold 3 months later, the landlord could make a case. It was great when I gave it to you, and now you've let the water leak and didn't clean it up. And so it's now on you. Cutting, watering, maintaining the lawn, removing weeds and pruning shrubbery, promptly removing ice and snow from all walks and steps. Yeah, don't be calling the landlord to shovel out your sidewalk if you don't have it, that this is crossed out and it's part of it. Some condos and townhouse communities, they do have that with the HOA, but most likely your walk and step, you've got to get that cleaned off. Keep the free of leaves and other debris. In other words, you're kind of the substitute homeowner. You're the dweller, so clean things out. Promptly reporting any defects or damage or breakage. I used to when I was a investor, I had tenants. I'd say, look, you're not in trouble if you tell me that there's a problem with the property. I need to know there's a problem with the property. It helps me help you. Okay. Um, Paying the cost of unnecessary service calls. I You call me, I line up the AC guy to come out, and then you don't let him in or let her in, or you don't let them. And so now I've got to reschedule, and now I'm on the dime for $150. This is where the tenant still has to pay something. So that new phrase in the law that you can't pay deductibles, this is where they still have to pay if they've done something wrong. Making any repairs, alterations, or additions required by governmental authority, the association, insurance company, or due to tenant's use. So if the government has to do, if they if they're supposed to be mowing the grass and the landlord gets a notice that you're violating the city code because your grass is too tall, and then the landlord has to come in and mow the grass and pay a fine, the tenant's on the dime for those things. Maintaining premises in such a manner to prevent the infestation of household pests, ticks, fleas, bed bugs. If it was clean when you got it and you come out and you got all this stuff in there, they can have that treated at the end of the lease and take it out of the security deposit. So I just want to make sure you are reviewing these 2 pages or paragraph 14 with your tenants and with the landlord so they both know what they're required to do and not required to do. Any questions on any stuff? Any horror stories you want to share with the crowd? None? Okay.
Well, you know my horror story, so with the
You were the
water.
one I think I was using. The water in the water in the chandelier.
Yes,
How did
yes.
that end up?
I told them to get a lawyer because it was such a mess. The landlord did go in there and fix it, but there was so much water. The lady has a compromised immune system,
Yeah.
so she's afraid of mold and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
they got a lawyer. So hopefully
Yeah.
I got to check back in with them again.
But guys, that's such a good example of how that can happen and go sideways real quick with what Laura's describing there. Well, yeah, they fixed the leak. It's no problem. Not with someone with an immune system that may have a problem. If mold comes up, I mean, that's how this can go sideways real quick,
Right.
you know. Um, And then there's a move out inspection. That's why the tenant wants to take care of everything. They really should go through there with a fine tooth comb and don't leave it up to the next guy. And unless they're okay losing a lot of their deposit. And these deposits are a lot of money. It's a 1 month's rent. You're talking about a $3,000 rental for a townhouse. They can lose $3,000 because they wouldn't go through and fix things. It's a lot cheaper to get things all fixed up. Okay. All right, so that's all I have there on that one. Let's get to the other piece here. Go back to the. All right, so 7 and 8, we reviewed that. Um, Fire and carbon monoxide. All right, question came up with one of our agents or a couple of our agents that have rentals, and they say, I've got people that want to see the property. Can I just toss it to an agent in the office, or does the agent have to have a tenant agreement just to go show the property to someone that called on it? So I called NVAR, and they said, no, you don't. You do not have to have a tenant agreement if you're showing a tenant, a potential renter, a property from your office. If you're showing it on behalf of the listing agent, that's okay. Now, if an application results from it and they want you to do the application as the tenant agent, you could sign a tenant agreement, but you can also declare, to the listing agent, hey, look, they're going to be unrepresented. I'm going to do the application. I want to claim the 25%. So you could do that. Any questions on this? This was actually pretty good news because the thing was coming up where agents sometimes have to go travel miles to show a rental listing and they don't show up, or when they get there, they find out, oh, yeah, I got an agent. I'm like, are you kidding me? And so the listing agent was asking, can I toss this out there? Because a lot of people, as y'all know, just say, look, I just want to see the house. I don't want to sign an agreement. So, in the realm of can I just have someone show it under my agreement, the answer from NVAR was yes, you can. Because all the listing agreement is actually with the brokerage. And so they can then show it as a representative of the brokerage. And if you get that application, you can say, hey, I'm doing an application with these guys, but I just want you to pay me. We're not signing a tenant agreement. Any questions on this? No? You totally understand it? This is great. It's going to be a shortcut. Oh, look at that.
You explained it very well,
We're
Anthony.
26 minutes in. Woohoo! What y'all got?
And this explanation actually is a great news. So you can actually
It
help.
does, man. It really frees it
Yeah.
up, doesn't it?
So if you claim the 25% as just a showing contact, what kind of agreement do you have to sign with a listing agent?
Well, that's going to be now. Remember, this is with our listing agent. So let's say,
Yeah, yeah,
Lily,
yeah.
you have a listing and you send Damien out to show it because you can't go.
Yeah.
and he meets them, and then they want to do an application, and he directs that application, gets it done. He can still say, "Hey, Lily, they're doing an application. I showed it. I'm
Yep.
procuring cause. I want to claim the 25%."
That is
And
fine, but what is there anything that we between me and the listing agent we need to, or like at this point, me as a listing agent in the showing contract that we
yeah,
need to sign between each other?
we could probably do it as a referral fee. I didn't ask her that far. She goes, "Y'all," I talked with Shannon on this one, and she goes, "Boy," she goes, "this one's, we're getting a lot of feed on this one because there's a lot of this going on." And she says, "It's just in your office how you want to deal with that." I would submit with that one person, you could say, "Hey, here's a referral fee form." And then we've got something because you don't have a tenant agreement to use, but
Yeah.
you are, and we know that, most of our people that are doing, agreements, they're offering out some sort of fee. So you would say, "Hey, I want to claim that fee since I showed it." And, just if you got an issue with an agent saying they're not going to pay you after you just did that work, you let me know. We will have a discussion with them. It's like, come on, man. They are truly helping you out by running over there with the hopes of getting that agreement done.
I haven't seen anyone from our office not be willing to
No,
compensate.
no,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
Don't want to
that's
scare Damien or anything. And Damien's one of our new guys here, so he's learning all this new stuff. But yeah, so that was actually a nice sigh of relief. Because now what that means is, let's say Amy goes out with Damien to see Lily's listing. He doesn't like it. Amy doesn't like it, but Damien can say, "I can show you other properties. Let's just sign this up." And now he's built the relationship of, "Hey, he's a nice guy, knows what he's doing. He met me out here. Sure, let's sign up with a tenant agreement." And that's kind of how I would say that's kind of how that would work, because you have the opportunity with an interested party to try to gather some sort of commission with our listing, and now you've bypassed that awkward discussion. Before you cross this door, I got to get an agreement signed with you.
I've done it. It's so awkward.
Yeah, it's very
It's
awkward.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
How
totally understand.
uncomfortable. Yeah. I've been like, no, we're not signing anything with you. I
Yeah,
I I
yeah,
brought paper,
yeah,
printed, and asked them before I opened the
yeah,
door to sign it just to have it,
yeah.
even though it's not in the office yet. Awkward.
So now we
Weird.
know, as showing agents with our listings, we don't need that now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can do that, but if you want to go see other properties, then we have to have an agreement. And
I
I
think
think the
this is
consumer's
great.
like, "This is great. I love it. So,
Yeah.
It
okay.
certainly is easier. Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally easier. And at least 8 of us here know about it now. So
We'll share it with others.
anything else? What else is happening out there?
Anthony,
Yeah,
any word on the Zillow thing? Did you
I
get?
did not get to that yet. I saw your second email.
Yeah.
So I gotta call them and find out how do we do that?
Okay.
I know that with Compass, they were saying if it doesn't show up in the MLS, then when you can't put it up here, but that's a whole different ball game, I'm sure. But I'll try to get that nailed down today, find out what's this approval thing. What Gary is talking about is he has an office exclusive and he wants to put it in Zillow. And he got a hold of someone in Zillow, said, "Sure, you just got to have your broker invite you."
Yes, that was correct.
Yeah. So I gotta find out what that looks like and get that done so that you can market that property off MLS as an office exclusive.
Go ahead. Hey,
Barbara?
Anthony.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Steve Swanson. How you doing today?
Hey, Steve.
Yeah, I submitted everything on the paperwork that the Kingstown sent to me and filled out all the paperwork. Is there anything more I need to do? Do I need to send something into the board or something, or is that being taken care of?
No, we get that from you, and then that paperwork's put together and it's sent to the board. And
Okay.
now you wait about 3 weeks. Just ask Damien. Yeah. It's about 3 weeks
Okay, I got it.
still.
Yeah, and I appreciate your discussion on rental properties since I'm dealing with rental property out in Texas we've had for 40 plus years
Yeah.
and damage, etc. So understand what's going on. I'm about ready to give them a call
Yeah.
and say, hey, what is going on here? So
Right. And remember, that's our lease. Texas may have something different. Every
yeah,
state's
yeah,
different.
yeah.
Yeah.
Understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. just
Okay.
making sure that the property manager is doing his job. So
Mm-hmm. Okay.
it's difficult from 1,500 miles away.
Anything
All right,
else?
thanks.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Laura.
Yeah, this is off subject. Do you know when the KW office approximately is going to open up? I want to start to book for my Virginia housing classes,
Yeah.
and I just needed to kind of know that.
Yeah, that's a Shane question. I know everything's over there. He just sent out a email this morning with shipping instructions
Mm-hmm.
so that everything can now start going. Actually, it's going to the Universal Title Office in Suite 140.
Mm-hmm.
Our suite is 240 once it's done. My understanding is that we're getting to the point where they're getting all the decorating done and the painting, and it should be like in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. I did send Shane the
Yeah,
email.
maybe how many usually come to your class?
Well, sometimes I have upwards as high as 20
Yeah.
and as low as 8.
Okay, I was wondering if maybe Universal Title's got a space, but probably they just have a couple of offices.
Yeah, it might be too many. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
sometimes, you never know. 20, 30 may book and you may only end up with 14, 15.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So I know that we were aiming at August, and this last week we were getting everything out. And Shane sent the email out this morning saying, "Okay, here's the new address, and this is where you need to send your FedEx packages and your mail." So that part of it's done.
Okay.
So
I did read that.
yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Anthony,
Thank you.
Anthony,
Yeah. Yeah, Christine.
I have a situation with Zillow where my current listing was listed with a different agent from a different brokerage.
Mhm.
They canceled that listing, and about a week later, we went on the market with new photos. And I can't seem to get that agent off as the listed by, and I can't get his like virtual staging or Sky Tour or any of that off. And
If you go, I know at least this pathway. I have a video that I just did on this, how to get your pictures off of Zillow.
oh, okay.
And so if you go look at that video, the seller has to go claim the property as their own.
They did do that already.
All right, so those old pictures, they should have the power to get them off. I don't know about the tours and all that stuff, and that's probably going to be a Zillow issue. I don't know what else to tell you to do because I don't know the inner workings of Zillow. Just ask Gary. So, you know.
That's what
There
I've
are
heard.
no workings, but there's a fellow by the name of Nick that I spoke to, Christine.
Yeah.
His phone number, his personal phone number, please don't tell him I gave it to you, is 720
Okay.
460 5993.
May I just repeat 720-460-5993?
Yes, that's correct. He's been very helpful in a non-helpful endeavor. But
Yeah.
I mean, he gave me a lot of information and he did some background checking. So,
Okay.
and the other number that you can call is 888 466 3501.
Okay.
466.
888 466 3501.
Okay.
And
Okay.
that just takes you to the next available rep.
Yeah.
But the guy Nick phone number is what I gave you. Anthony, Nick is the guy at the 720 number. If you wrote that down, that's the fellow I spoke to.
Yeah. What's his number again?
720 460 5993.
5993. Nick.
So I got an email from Carlos from probably that same 888 number. And he's talking about fixing it in my agent hub. Do we need to pay for that?
No.
Okay. All right.
You got to
so-
sign up as an agent with Zillow, and then you have a hub. that's where I put my rentals in and stuff like that. And I also go in there and update my sales periodically because sometimes they don't have my sales in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I wasn't sure if that was something I had to pay for, and I didn't want to give
No.
Zillow any money.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Anything else? All right. I am out of town beginning tomorrow through the next weekend. Sheila will be the broker on call. Obviously, I'll sign paperwork because I can't really tell everybody to change another email, but I'll check for paperwork and stuff like that. Yeah, Tyler, what you got?
Hi. So I'm late because I was showing a property, but I do have a question. I just showed three properties, and the person said that they was not aware that they was going to have a retainer fee. Can we waive that retainer fee to save the client per se?
Yeah, I mean the
Um,
retainer fee is on you. A lot of agents charge it or don't charge it. I teach to charge it because
I agree.
they disappear. You got nothing.
And I agree. And so now again, because she wasn't familiar with that, and I explained to her that sometimes the listing agent brokerage does not pay and
Yeah,
that she would be responsible for it. She
yeah,
bailed basically. And I hate that, but I just dealt with something that, was very
yeah,
similar. So
yeah.
okay, well,
Well, the other piece you could say, well, I charge it, but we can reduce it from the commission that I receive.
okay.
So you
Okay.
get 250 and let's say the rental's going to pay you 500, then you would reduce it from the 500 and give it back to her.
Okay. Okay.
It's a golden handcuff is what it is with tenants.
Okay.
And as
Okay.
you move forward in that rental world, it's just going to take a couple of them to travel all over the world and get nothing to realize, you know what, I should charge that fee. And you separate the doers and not doers with that
Okay.
fee.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
I get it.
Well,
Your
we'll
time's
see.
pretty valuable with what you're doing, so
I do agree.
yeah,
I was up last night planning things, and when she realized she had to pay, she bailed. So,
yeah. And it saved you all that
okay.
time. There you go.
And I agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. That it? Okay, folks. Thanks for coming out. You guys have a great